Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Left 4 Dead 2. I just watched the trailer that plays when you load in. There's something I want to check here. Um, there's a lot in that trailer that clearly was a tease before the game had really been um, in heavy development, but like there were several things that I noticed that seem like they have odd readability. For instance, I guess there's just not really a good way to do this. Let's just pick Nick and then let's go easy and just start here on this. And this will be probably about the easiest way to do this. Um, for instance, like Rochelle has a Depeche Mode t shirt, whereas every other character pretty much has nothing on their shirts as far as the zombies. And the coach has FHS. Let's see if we can. Nope, can't skip this. Even the single player. Uh,
Hello? Anyone here?
but there's just like no readability on that. Like
Looks
it
like their plans
doesn't
have changed.
make a lot of sense to have her have a logo on her shirt when every other character, every zombie has nothing. And I know he has FHS, but that could be any high school you pick. And then Ellis has a shirt that says Bull Shifters, but seems like they don't even really want you to be able to see it. Which I have no idea what that's supposed to be, like a baseball team maybe? And then he has a hat that in the trailer looked like a Tractor Supply Company type redneck hat. Here, I can't even get high enough to see it, and you can nudge them, but that's about it. It's funny that you both nudge them and walk through them, depending on your momentum. Uh, what is also slightly weird is that you start on a roof here just because they started on a roof in the first game. Like, there's really no good reason for that to be that way. Uh, but as you're actually playing the game, to get back to readability, you're never going to read this guy's shirt. This could have just been a dirty yellow shirt. This could have not had FHS on it and just looked like a coach's shirt with different colors. This could have just been a pink shirt. I would think specifically in Depeche Mode, you're licensing art at that point. And I don't know if there is Depeche Mode audio that actually plays in this game or not. The trailer I've mentioned before is fairly different from what the actual game is. Um, it is zoomed in a lot more. It, I think, shows a slightly different design on the chainsaw. It, I feel like, shows slightly more zombies than actually ever show up on screen. There's just a lot that's different there. So now we're going to do the last stand. And yeah, if you go back to the original characters, none of them really have any logos except for Bill. Bill kind of has these kind of militaristic style logos on their clothing. It is still very weird that this game introduced new characters. I would have introduced maybe the new characters and let you play as both the new characters and the old characters in every scenario. It probably wouldn't have changed too much. Even if it was just some kind of like free DLC that changed the skin and muted the lines of dialogue that were spoken for the character you're playing as, that would be fine. I imagine, since this is a multiplayer game where you probably would play it multiple times over and over again, the idea of changing the skin and just not hearing dialogue that's unnecessary would be fairly useful. And what I mean by muted is not that they wouldn't say reloading or anything like that. Those lines of dialogue were already recorded for the first game. They just wouldn't go into long speeches, which only Alice really goes into long speeches anyways. I would be I suppose what I'm looking for as far as The Last Stand as the last campaign is to be blown away and have an experience like the parish in particular, where it changes from a lot of different sceneries and feels very fleshed out and full of 3D models. Something that just would feel like a major step above anything in the first game with the old characters. Otherwise, I have no idea. That art looks weird. Like, that doesn't even look like the girl from the first game. She's in the same clothing, but that face, that is very weird looking.
Think anyone is still alive?
As far as Zoe.
Let's go look.
You're an optimist. I'll give you that, Lewis.
Yeah, they must, like, Zoe looks way different than what that poster looked like. So, I wonder if what we're going to have here is a more horror-themed game. This is Riverside Park, picnic grounds and swimming area. Feels like there was a bunch of zombies in the truck over there. It seems weird that there's an extra health pack when all 4 people have a health pack. And you can take the shovel and you can take the axe. That's it. Again, this immediately gets into that problem. Interesting that I can shoot the box, but I cannot if we look at Bill's outfit, yeah. Bill has kind of like a snake pattern, maybe like a "Don't Tread on Me" symbol on his helmet, which might indicate he's not actually a military guy as much as he is a survivalist. Definitely feels very dark. Which I guess that would be a question, certainly, as to, is that the direction you want to go with the Left 4 Dead series, is to have at least a few scenarios. They're doing lighting here by the sirens, but the police cars never had never had an alarm on them, which is weird. Here we've got military. And was that a spitter?
Reloading! This way. Heads up, man. I hear a boomer. Incoming! Watch out!
I guess the idea is this isn't really different than any of the other remade scenarios. It's the other remade scenarios had the new elite zombies. So interesting, this car has damage. We have not seen that before. So they're doing something different with the art and the design. But I wouldn't say that much different.
Look! Reloading!
It is interesting to introduce the idea of it saying look, because the game has done a terrible job really about introducing that concept. And on several occasions we have had planes fly over and not seen them.
Reloading.
There's basically nothing in here.
Reloading.
And a
I would appreciate it if you keep better shooting me.
it definitely would be nice
This will blow something up.
if you had
Works for
a
me.
system where you could find a little angle, a little window to shoot your guns at that would shoot a better positioned, advanced zombie, armored zombie. Not really suspect that you should be able to find some secret way to kill an elite zombie, but even in that would be interesting. Certainly if you could say that there was always a witch, for instance, on the side of there and you could shoot through the windows.
Reloading.
Feels like the charger loses his health
Reloading.
as he attacks. I guess you're not supposed to be able to go up that way. I guess these are Mudmen. They're trying to bring them back.
Reloading. Reloading.
It's been a few more days. I found a lot of different distractions lately to not get back to playing this game. And coming back and just hearing the guns go off again and again, I really don't feel like I feel any better as far as this game's development. It feels ridiculous and repetitive. Can I climb up here? No. So you have to come through this more narrow path. And then that's not a door. And it's seeming like you don't go up to that area. The Steam summer sale is happening right now, and I did find out that the Zombie Army trilogy, amongst other games, I think, have
Up the stairs. Watch out.
they have the skins of the characters from Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2, which doesn't really mean anything. This is a different kind of bathroom design, but it kind of highlights how, because there was sort of a stagnation as far as Valve actually doing anything with Left 4 Dead, that they started to just let a lot of their characters show up in other games. I wouldn't even really classify them as being, I wouldn't classify Valve as being particularly precious with the protagonist of Half-Life as a series either. So you just have to jump down here. I guess that's the only way you could go, because this door was barricaded. Still fairly easy to not have any auto aim assist. Wow, that...
Reloading! Reloading!
They all seem to be spawning up there. Looters will be shot.
Don't shoot the car.
That car feels like it would set off an alarm.
Reloading! Reloading!
Why is the car making sounds like it's gonna go off? Is that just a warning sound?
Reloading!
I guess it is. It does feel like the car at least does a better job of not getting accidentally set off like the witch does. Where the witch, we kind of know the witch is just a nightmare scenario.
Reloading! Witch!
Francis started the witch, not me. I thought maybe I had started her. While we're dealing with the witch, we totally didn't even pay attention to the fact that
Cover me.
that the jockey was there. Yeah, this is a whole experiment in can we deform the cars, which they really couldn't do in Left 4 Dead 1 because they were stretching the texture skins over different models of cars. And while that would have worked with deformed damaged cars just as well, they would have had to make the 3D models of the deformed and damaged cars. If anything, it makes an argument that this scenario in this campaign is implied to be taking place either in an area where there already was a lot of deformed damaged cars, like a junkyard, or just really economically depressed area, or that this is taking place significantly further in the future, and the zombies or animals, or which we haven't really seen if animals are attacked by zombies or not, because there are just no animals in this game. But like if the zombies are chewing on the rubber, or the rubber is being destroyed some other way on the tires, that would be interesting. Certainly would help in a zombie mythos story. Really, it would make sense if zombies started to attack cars and break them, thus making it
Oh man, that sounds like a boom.
making it a little bit more dangerous or difficult to move from point A to point B. I think they probably mute characters complaining about being shot if a jockey is riding on them. Otherwise, I almost certainly would have heard a lot more complaints about shooting people when a jockey is riding on them. We are seeing shifting locations fairly quickly. Environmental storytelling and lighting.
Weapons over here. Reloading. Cover me.
I'm not sure there's going to be a good position. There's a guy with the reflective vest. We really didn't see a lot of those characters in the game, which arguably I think they probably could have doubled the number of special infected textures and skins and the new looking zombies, and worn down the number of the kind of older already been seen type of guys. And I just don't want to get the Magnum.
That's quiet. Too damn quiet. Grenade!
I think I probably preemptively threw the Molotov. And so this is just going to be a junkyard scene. That is cool that they jumped through the window.
Wait up, I have something for you.
Alright, Bill definitely needs to be healed.
Let me heal you up.
There's a mechanical hum sound effect that's playing.
Reloading!
Let's see, we have a spawn thing here.
Grabbing a pipe bomb.
And that's like the first time we've ever found anything in any of these spawn closets. It really should just be like tying blades, kitchen knives, to all the guns. That gets a little Borderlands-esque, I know, but the melee, it does kind of feel like you're just swatting away
Weapons over here.
zombies when you attack them, like they're nothing, when you should either be flailing in terror or you should be fully prepared to kill them. Let's see what's up here. Big metal roof sound effects. Seems like we have to break this with the crane. Are we gonna just magnetically pull the fence? Wouldn't it just hit the electric wires first?
What do you say? Let's do it.
Let's just get everybody up here. Let's see if we can. Restore that. I see all kinds of lights. Are we supposed to be turning on the lights? Or what? Okay, don't activate that.
Let's go! Let's go!
So yeah, it seems to me like we're supposed to be just powering up this with multiple things, which this is a different experience for sure than what we have been dealing with up until this point. We had something like this in the sacrifice, but that's about it.
Last generator. Look out! Grenade!
Just set myself on fire. I guess that's one way to deal with it. I guess if you had not really looked around, it might be slightly difficult to figure out how to get to these generators, but not really. So what is this gonna do? Seems like it's gonna pick up this. And what? Make a path? What are we supposed to do now? Just slowly moving it up. Were we supposed to be in that? See, it seems like it's just gonna automatically swing and drop it down. Like, none of this actually works this way. There needs to be a human in there. Cranes aren't automated. They really wouldn't be. They might be, like, a really brand new fancy one might very well be assistive, but a human operator needs to be behind it. Oh, and we just jumped completely over the wall. But yeah, they're not automated machines. That they would not be pre-programmable to pick up a shipping container and then use that shipping container. Is there just, for a second there I thought this whole level was just unfinished and there was no way up there. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, I wouldn't be super surprised if that is exactly what one of these levels would be released as, is just like an unfinished or barely finished product.
That's one I owe you. Sure.
I was trying to heal Francis and I think I just healed Bill. Right,
Hang on, let me fix you up.
Playing this on easy, I think we're
Thanks,
fairly safe to
totally welcome.
to keep doing this.
I hear a boomer.
So we kind of started in forest. We went to a little bit of Mudmen swamp. Then we went to a little bit of a that's a weird piece of flesh of building. Why is everything on fire? A forest on fire is something we haven't seen before. Although we did have the kind of hotel on fire. There was a section very much like this that we saw before where there was kind of nothing in the middle. This is going to get back to the crashed airplane, which we saw that sequence before also. It is kind of annoying that the zombies neither get hurt nor helped by walking through the spitter acid. So are we supposed to be going this way? Like, are we supposed to jump down to this section? Which that would be cool, but it would also kind of break the general way this game has taught us to not jump down through areas and keep our feet planted firmly on the ground for most scenarios.
Reloading!
This is not a platforming game where you really would want to bunny hop a lot or jump a lot at all. It's in fact fairly silly that this game even has jumping in it, other than the fact that most games just by default are expected to have jumping in it, and this wasn't, and can obviously handle that. I'm now struggling to get out of this area.
Charger! Reloading! Smoker!
So it was
Reloading!
this direction that we were supposed to go. Which you need a default line of dialogue
This is wide open.
where it says, looks like we're gonna have to jump down. There could have been multiple places where a character could have said that. And I know this game is designed so that maybe only one of the 4 characters is in the game at any point because they may have died, but it would have been fairly easy to have each of the 4 characters. Is that a mirror? What is this? Like some kind of walk-in shower? It is.
Reloading.
There's a lot of design going into this very nice shower. It's like somebody here designed their own perfect dream shower for their own house and did it with the Valve software. Yeah, that's
Weapons
weird.
here.
That's a better gun.
Reloading!
So it seems like we are trying for... Ooh, window. That window broke out. It's like everything we're seeing here was an experiment on what Left 4 Dead 3 would have been, and whatever little bit of work would have been made for a potential Left 4 Dead 3, which I feel like there was definitely some thoughts that they were going to actually be allowed to make Left 4 Dead 3, even though Half-Life 3 would have to come out first in the minds of, I think, Valve proper, and Gabe Newell, I think,
Grenades
in
here.
particular, is in that weird situation where he's been quoted as saying Left 4 Dead 3 is coming out for a lot. He stopped saying it for nearly a decade, but he said it was coming out a lot, and obviously it's been, if not officially canceled, severely soft canceled. Now, I imagine if I jump down here, that's just instant death.
Weapons here.
But yeah, when the Orange Box came out and Left 4 Dead 1 came out, that would have been exactly when they were saying Valve was back to making video games. This feels like that Resident Evil 4 sequence where you're just defending a cabin.
A machine gun?
But
Thanks a lot.
what is... It's... These windows break too easily.
Zoe, heal up. Charger! Ammo here.
It's a little too small of an area to actually defend, though. It's a little too constricted, particularly for 4 players. Will this window shoot out? No. that window, the glass will break out. There definitely feels like there's technology here that's just not existent in any of the other games. So I would assume the expectation would be that like the expectation would be that Back 4 Blood would have a lot of what we're seeing here, but frankly we need 12 years of improvement on that technology also. This feels like this is getting into that forested narrow path section that we saw earlier in a previous scenario.
There's a safe house.
Maybe that's what they're trying to do here, is improve on what was a fairly lackluster scenario. Because, yeah, one of them was particularly generic, where this does feel a lot more varied, and it is not as visually stimulating by any means compared to the parish, where you're in a city, but it is doing, I think, a decent attempt at trying to be close to that. Is Zoe gonna heal? I guess we'll heal ourselves first. Feels like they heal themselves without actually going through the animations in the safe house, which that's not a bad idea either. Oh. Actually I should hold on to that. Okay. I want to throw a grenade. Why am I not throwing a grenade? Does it not let me throw Boomobile in a safe house? Or what? Or am I just hitting the wrong button? This is an interesting shower in front of a toilet concept. Not really what you want. You don't want potentially a mental connection, I would say, between the toilet and the shower. You'd kind of feel like the shower should be clean, the toilet not so much, although you do want a clean toilet as much as you can. Yeah, and we can skip over though the shockingly large number of people that will urinate, and even a shockingly large number of people that will defecate in a shower, or at least joke like they did. Thank you, Curvy. Now I can throw it. And that cleared out a lot of people, as if that matters, because it's just constantly respawning. There's a game called Watchtower that got into slight controversy by claiming they were going to DMCA strike PewDiePie, the YouTuber's coverage of his of the game in a fairly early example of online cancel culture stuff. I don't want to get into it too much, but then there was a lot of backlash against that game for him going after PewDiePie.
You sure
and
this is the right way?
involving himself in a controversy that would have been better that they hadn't involved, that didn't really involve them in the first place.
Now this is a big-ass machine gun.
I will take that. And he, if I recall correctly, actually did get hired and work for Valve, and may still work for Valve. What does it mean to work for Valve? Not really much of anything. Watchtower was kind of a story-centric walking simulator. And I don't think there was a real high chance we don't go to the lighthouse death.
Weapons here.
It wasn't looking, even when he seemingly gave up on his own company and went to work for Valve, it wasn't looking like they were working on anything new. It definitely puts you in a weird position as a video game critic, because on one end, Watchtower is a game that I would have liked to review, but I have a near infinite amount of games I'd like to review and that I haven't gotten around to. And on the second end, if somebody doesn't respect fair use as far as criticism, which maybe you could make the argument that PewDiePie's coverage wouldn't be covered in fair use because he wasn't actually giving enough criticism. But that was definitely not the argument being made. The argument that the Watchtower creator was making was that all video game criticism was not fair use, and all of it should be DMCA'd. It was a very extreme stance to take against pretty much anyone who would do you the favor of reviewing your game and giving shopping advice to people who might want to buy your game.
Weapons.
So, in the shadow of that, having that happened, that was personally, I think, the first instance in which I had to consider what to do and establish a kind of running mental blacklist. It's not really a list, I don't have that, in which I had to establish policy that any game developer / publisher that's going to try and copyright claim in one way or the other. Some video game companies like Nintendo also have the problem of trying to claim all the monetization and run ads on your channel, even if you don't want ads, when you try to do a fair use criticism, which they should not be allowed to do that. There's no legal reason why anybody should be allowed to run ads. That's just YouTube kowtowing to big corporations. But yeah, that has led to Watchtower and any other game from that developer being kind of blacklisted. There's, I suppose, scenarios where a recantation of that might change my mind. There's situations where that person may not be involved. That is kind of the situation with Fez too, is that Phil Fish said a lot of controversial things and then got mad when people called him out on the controversial things, I think is the best way to describe it.
Molotovs here.
Looks like there's going to be a big fight. What's this that we're activating? Are we going to activate the lighthouse to call for assistance? That may very well be the case. So it is certainly gone both ways. We can see how the boats have crashed on shore, even abandoned, they would do that, but it's also possible that there was people in them when they crashed. I guess you probably shouldn't be
Weapons over here.
breaking the windows. These are definitely designed so zombies can reach you, I think. So yeah, I did end up covering Fez. But also, I think in Fez's case, there was no direct attack on people's YouTube channels and misabuse of the DMCA laws.
Grenades here.
I think slightly changes the scenario. And honestly, not a lot of games have followed suit. I can pretty much say every Nintendo game is off limits for every video game critic that wants to exist. Nintendo's definitely trying to implement Japanese law, Japanese copyright laws, or their interpretation of Japanese copyright laws and apply them to a United States company in the form of YouTube. Seems like there's just a lot of people who have signed their names. This is almost like a credits level. There's like one game, Braid was another game that got a lot of content ID claims. It irritated me over the life of my career as being a YouTube video game critic. And there was another game that I can't even remember the name of it, and that was about it. But I do tend to also
First aid kit here.
keep an eye out for those problems. Certainly, first and foremost. And certainly a lot of other people have had a lot more problems. There is a slight difference in my mind from people who are just being jerks and running ads on your channel. Something that, since my channel most recently has been not allowed back into the YouTube Partner Program because they changed the standards and just required a lot more subscribers. I haven't really been paying a lot of attention to people who run ads on my channel as much as I've been paying attention to people who have tried to block videos, which there's been considerably less of that. Like, very rarely do I find something that is blocked, and if it is blocked, it's often blocked only in like weird Middle Eastern countries or more than anything else.
Here they come!
Oh, this just stops, so you can't actually get up inside of it. Interesting, they destroyed the wall. I thought this was going to be fairly safe. So I'm just going to shoot through this hole and see how many times I can kill something before the door gets...
Cover me. I'm healing.
So you have this area here that lets you get off where any acid spit would be. But yeah, that's a long conversation to have for no good reason other than the fact that there was a watchtower in this game. It is, I think, still very important to mention that working for Valve means not really doing anything with your career.
Nice one.
or at least it seems that way. One of the people who worked for Valve and was hired out of college from Digipen and making the game Portal, they have since moved on to a new company, although they had already moved from Valve. They had moved to, like, I believe EA, and now they're on to a third company, which highlights the situation, I think, a lot better. Hey, that light is on. They should have played a cutscene there. Where's the guy? I guess we'll just have to find it. But yeah, definitely not a lot of successful careers working at Valve as far as if you actually want to make games. Alright, well, apparently now we have to go find some gas tanks. So we've got these green gas tanks, which what you would have hoped to have seen is that these green gas tanks were not something that you could have moved before. That would be my hope, is that they fixed that problem. Got it. This is an interesting, different kind of music. We've never heard this before. Feels like we should have heard that before. But close the door on me. Got it. Interesting that those are tagged as yellow. Is this a ladder? No. Well, that explains why I can't get up there.
Watch your ass!
There was a way up this building.
Weapons over here!
I know we saw it. Did they knock it down?
Look out!
Nope. And there's a desire for 6 gas tanks. You have to jump on this ladder, which is weird because you don't have to do that on any of the others.
Watch out!
What would be really funny is if it turned out that each one of those that I've knocked over is it has drained out, and that it doesn't count, and I'm gonna have to reset a bunch. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Do we have 6?
Good thing I'm indestructible. You're fine. Thanks.
Behind you!
Francis heal.
This should last until we're safe.
Thanks, man.
Hey, no problem.
Yeah.
I hear a smoker.
fire one of these. Got it.
Okay. So we've got 6. The only thing I can really do different here is try and find
Watch out!
these don't go particularly far, so we'll just grab this one, go that one, go that one, grab that one, so that puts all of these very close.
Watch my back.
And the actual animation of filling the gas is not particularly slow, which I kind of appreciate that. I wonder if that changes if the difficulty is different. And sure, you could not prepare here, but you could also, in a multiplayer scenario, have like easily
Check this out.
3 players grabbing 2 of them. Them each, and that would have been a slower experience, a faster experience anyways. What's interesting is we've got like this rock music playing. Feels like we're about to fight some kind of big boss. I don't even know what we're really trying to do, because did we call in a boat? Is Virgil coming to save us? Like seriously, when did we call in a boat? So, how's that guy? It's very obvious here that this game did not have a budget for one more voice actor or voice lines.
The boat's here. Let's go.
And so, yeah, they should. It says John something. John Slater. So they introduce a name in the subtitles of John Slater. We don't know a John Slater. It would have been cool if there was a military contact named John Slater who was sending out the immune people to kill zombies, but honestly, the zombies just constantly come. There's really no reason to go out and try and shoot them with guns. You might as well just do a bombing run on entire cities and entire areas. What this game would need for that concept to work is for there to be survivors that you could try and save, or some kind of documents, files, medical supplies, something that you needed to pick up, some kind of MacGuffin at least. That would make a lot more sense. There's a very good question here as far as why this is called The Last Stand. There's nothing specifically special about that scenario. There was a considerably fewer number of zombies even compared to an average scenario. Also, they got this scenario down to an hour with me talking and taking my time, so it's a fairly short scenario in general. And so, with that, have we done all the developer commentary? I don't think we have. So, I think what we'll do, because I think we've just done the park and we haven't done the cemetery or the quarter or the bridge, is we'll end this episode here, and then we've already looked at mutations and found that most of them seem like they don't really work, and they're only there to try and stretch out the length of this game that is fairly short. I imagine if this was an always online game 12 years ago, which would have been kind of crazy, well, what do I mean by always online? I mean, if it was a game that was so focused on keeping you playing and had in-app purchases like slash loot boxes, and they wanted to make sure you logged in every day and played the game, you would have seasonal events that would have been mutations. And they did want some of that, but it wasn't as focused as something with in-app purchases and loot boxes. And that's not a good thing by any means. If anything, this game is way better because it doesn't have that kind of push to have log in daily. It doesn't have daily quests. It doesn't have loot boxes. It doesn't have perks you can purchase. Whereas like Star Wars Battlefront is kind of a great example of how that gets weird and bad. We've already looked at realism, and all it really does is slightly change your vision. So we will try a little bit of versus, but we already kind of know what that is. We'll try a little bit of survival, and we'll try a little bit of scavenge. And then we'll be done with this game. Really isn't a lot to say. Otherwise, like there's undoubtedly some add-on campaigns that I could go and try and find through the Steam like custom made games from fans, but there's no reason to criticize something that isn't actually likely to be seen by somebody who actually just plays the game or purchases the game. So yeah, this is as good of a place as any to end this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend to follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.